Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. This is your tarot reading for the week ahead. We start with the Knight of Pentacles reverse, so don't be surprised if you're feeling things are a little unstable, a little unsteady. You're feeling a bit uprooted this week. The Knight of Pentacles loves assurances, loves certainty, definitely works with the mantra of a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, doesn't like to take unnecessary risk. Therefore, don't be surprised if you're feeling that you're financially a bit stretched. Unsurprising given the time of year. Many of us will be feeling the pinch of other festivities. It's important to delineate and just distinguish, is this a feeling or is it a reality? Am I just feeling a bit anxious because I love everything to know its place? Or actually, am I just feeling this way because I am financially overstretched? If the snap decision was the latter, then it's probably more with the former. You'll have to double check in with yourself. Again, as we move towards the end of the year, you might be leaving a few open-ended lines, things that haven't quite wrapped up as much as you would perhaps like them to be. And again, this sense of uncertainty about what's coming up next, what's coming up in the future. But a bit of a reminder from me to you, nothing is ever certain. So, hey, what's the point in trying to pretend otherwise? What is perhaps much more conducive and useful is to embrace the Page of Wands energy. It's a kind of, sod it kind of attitude, I think, is probably one to take, and not worry too much about the formal or the kind of adult parts of life, really. Again, I'm not saying to hell with everything to be an anarchist, but actually, is there a point in taking this too seriously? Is there a point about worrying about this too much? Particularly in those themes of the pentacles, money, finance, the things that are tangible, home, security. If we're able to embody this energy, much more of the Page of Wands, spontaneity, creativity, playfulness, hey, what's the worst that can happen? That's probably a much better attitude. It's not kind of ignoring the problem, but it's not giving it too much attention. It's not putting all our energies and efforts in that, because it's just going to rob any sense of pleasure, any sense of fun that may appear. The fact that we have here the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands together is talking about a creative energy, is talking about more of an optimistic energy that is required and is necessary. We've got the Four of Cups here, the Lord of Blended Pleasure, closing your reading. And if we're not able to kind of fake it until we make it, if we're not able to embrace, there's so many star signs this week, that I've said, make sure that you're seeing the cup half full. Unsurprisingly, as we move towards the end of the year, we're probably going to feel a bit flat, a bit spent. And we can get into this slightly heavy emotional place of apathy and just feeling like we want to collapse. It's guarding against that a little bit is going to be really, really key. And also, just this anxiety about trying to control things. I know I've said that before, but these two things interplay. And if we're trying to control too much, or we're trying to kind of keep the cloche on too many aspects because we're worried about it getting out of hand, that's probably not the best attitude. Yes, it's important that we keep things in balance. Yes, it's important that we're not impulsive or compulsive in any ways, but you're not going to be. That's not what's given. It's much more likely to slip back where we're saying no to everything, or we're cutting ourselves off from pleasure because we're worried too much about moderation. So it's not. We don't need to go to either end of those extremes. Moderation is great, but not if we're holding back and being too cautious and careful, or if it's going the other way where we're being reckless and impulsive. And those themes are probably going to be quite pronounced for you this week. Some decisions to be made too with the Two of Swords. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Whether these decisions, the weight of those decisions, again, feel larger than they need to be, perhaps yes, but not necessarily because of that a great week to be making big decisions, because there's a danger that that we're making those decisions or making those choices more out of a place of fear than love, basically. And if we're able to connect more with that Page of Wands and Queens of Wands energy, that is a bit more playful, is a bit more spontaneous, it will encourage that sensibility, rather than, it's strange for you, Aquarius, because there is this sense of caution that I wouldn't have normally associated with your star sign. Yes, you can be very independent and an independent way of thinking, and you are cautious to a certain degree, but this seems to be like on another level. And again, just because perhaps things are in your environment and financially are a bit uncertain. So I can kind of understand, and we are trying to kind of embody the sense of moderation and hold back a little bit so we haven't overextended ourselves, but don't allow that to be the only driving force, is effectively what they keep coming back to. Another important question to be asking yourself is actually, what brings me pleasure, what brings me joy, what brings me play? Whether that is actually I want some board games, whether that is I want to reconnect with some creativity for a while, use some of the time off, not only just to collapse, but also lean into those pleasures that I have mothballed for a while. And that could be, I don't know, playing computer games, that could be reading a good book, that could be being a bit creative, whatever it is. It may feel a bit indulgent, but that's going to be necessary. It's not necessarily that you can do that this week. There's a little bit, but don't forget to put that as part of the planning too. It's like, be fun but serious. In a certain way, you're going to have to oscillate between these two energies. And again, that would explain a lot why you've got the Two of Swords here, having to bounce between these two energies, because it's an interesting conversation and interaction between the Page of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. One is like an infectious kind of puppy, and the other one's a kind of tired dog that's kind of kicking it away. And you may find these two extremes within you calling for your attention and demanding your attention in equal measure. And just coming back here with the Four of Cups, the Lord of Blended Pleasure, because of some of these things, it will feel like a mixed bag emotionally. Don't focus on that is, don't give the cautious, anxious part of you too much credence and too much influence within your life this week. Anything else that I want to say? You may find, just looking down at this cat on the Queen of Wands, and it's kind of making me laugh. So you might find that there's some kind of unexpected surprises that sit with you slightly oddly. You don't quite know what to make of them. They're not good, they're not bad, but you just don't know what. Yeah, there may be kind of low-level revelations that you're like, at the time you don't quite know what to make sense of. You might be a little bit shocked in particular areas. That would be interesting to see how that plays out. But that's my reading for you, Aquarius. I hope you found that helpful. If you want a more rounded reading, a 360 reading, then I'd highly recommend checking out your sun, moon, and rising. So all three. If you're not sure of your ascendant sign and your moon sign, then all you need to do is check in the description for the link below video, which will show you exactly how to do that, and then you can come back and watch the other videos. But until that next time, I hope that helps, and see you then. Bye for now.